Hi, I'm Oprah, and I'm here at Canaya High School to interview some people about the American dream.
Today we're going to interview.
Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, there's a heart. A hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a.
My name's Julian.
So, I brought the three of you here today. Mr. Longbottom, Mr. Adult, Mr. Child.
My name's Julian.
Oh,
That's
I'm sorry,
Sir
Julian.
Longbottom to you.
I'll try to remember to call you guys by your true names.
Yeah.
So, our country was founded on the ideas of freedom and equality for all. But history has provided us with numerous examples of how some groups are still fighting for these rights. Looking at how women have been treated throughout U.S. history, do you think they are now equal or that we still have work to do? Mr. Adult?
Well, Oprah, I believe that women have made great strides for equality throughout the years. I also believe that women should have equal rights as men. However, we still have a long way to go. But according to the Census Bureau, data shows that women are making gains in traditional jobs like men. Some of these jobs consist of accounting, being a police officer, lawyers, and being a judge.
Interesting.
Wait one moment, please. Women have the same rights as men? That's preposterous. It's against natural law, according to the Bible, and should be home taking care of your children instead of going out and working. Leave that to us guys. Do say, has there been a female president yet?
No.
No wonder this country's still intact.
You right.
Interesting. Interesting. What about you, Mr. Child?
I thought women were always equal and have the same rights as men. Both men and women work, take care of children, vote, and join the army, and both very intelligent. And this fool is wrong. You don't know nothing.
Interesting perspective, Mr.
Alright.
Mr. Child. So after that interesting debate, our next comment. Over the course of history, slavery has repeatedly made appearances. However, in 1808, international slavery was abolished. But America continued to have slaves. How do you think this reflects on our ideals and equality, Mr. Adult?
Well, white males wanting power and money made them reluctant about the idea of giving up slavery. Our ideals of equality will continue to evolve over the years, but only now can we call them racial issues.
And you, Mr. Longbottom?
Equality, written in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, is only for us aged, wealthy, white men. This country was based on the freedom for white men.
Mr. Child?
Our ideas of equality will never end, and there are always going to be racial issues. The reason why it's never going to end is because it started in American history, and it's going to continue.
Interesting. Very, very interesting responses. So continuing off of our talk about inequality, when the Pilgrims first arrived in America, the Native Americans greeted them and treated them with respect. Despite that, we took their land and made them slaves. Do you think we could have grown in the way that we have without them, Mr. Adult?
Well, because of what happened in the past, we could not have grown as a people without them. Without the natives, there would be some valuable skills and important information we would have never learned. For example, they taught us how to hunt, plant, fish, but most importantly, they taught us how to grow and harvest.
Interesting. That's very important.
Well, I believe those Indians should have just given our land instead of revolting. Maybe we wouldn't have killed them and made them into slaves.
Oh, man, you shouldn't have said that, man. Man, without the Native Americans, man, we wouldn't have nothing, man. Man, we wouldn't have, we wouldn't know how to camp or anything like that. We'd be lazy and just sit at home. But with the Native Americans, they taught us how to survive outside, Man, you're a fool.
What about you, Mr. Longbottom? Do you think that we could have survived without the Native Americans?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So the three founding documents were developed to protect our freedoms and rights. How well do you think that the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights have protected all of our citizens' rights? Remember, the women and minorities. Mr. Adult?
Well, I believe that these documents they were intended to protect all citizens of the U.S., not just men, but women and minorities too. The U.S. Constitution did not mention women or limit any rights for the males, but as the men saw it, the rights only applied mainly to them. Due to this, women and minorities did not get equal protection as their white male counterparts.
Mr. Longbottom?
Well, as mentioned earlier, women in my time, they were pretty much slaves in a way. Except, we loved them,
Oh, yes.
you know. And minorities were slaves, mainly the Africans. But those founding documents were written for us, wealthy Caucasian men.
Anyway,
Mr. Young Adult?
well, Mr. Adult is right about what he said.
I am right.
Yeah. And the Bill of Rights, Constitution, and the Independence were mostly for women, I think, and men, kind of the same. But it made women speak up and say what they want to do more than just stay at home and clean the house and do all that. So, yeah, okay.
Very interesting. So, speaking of the 3 founding documents, the founding fathers were the ones who created those. They are wealthy, educated Caucasian males, such as yourself. Based off of how the 3 founding documents were written and who they were written by, do you think that you would agree with the founding fathers' views on life, people, and the American dream? Do you feel that they are qualified to talk about equality for all people, Mr. Adult?
I do believe that the founding fathers were qualified to talk about equality. Although they were slave owners themselves, they still worked towards abolishing slavery and setting the perfect American dream.
Mr. Adult.
Well, they did have a good point, but after this whole conversation, I'm starting to think that there's no such thing as true equality for all people. In our society, as well as in your time, as I can see from here, you live in a patriarchal and hierarchy society. Yeah.
Okay. And you, Mr. Child?
Well, I disagree with the founding fathers because this guy right here, and
So what you're saying is you disagree with the founding fathers because of this wealthy white.
yeah, after seeing
Yeah.
this guy, I know I'm gonna hate them all. So yeah, they're just
That is quite a blanket statement you have there, Mr. Child. Thank you. And I believe this concludes our interview. Thank you all for coming, Mr. Child, Mr. Adult,
Thank
and
you.
Mr. Longbottom.
That's Sir Longbottom.
Sorry, Sir Longbottom. Sorry.
So after interviewing Mr. Adult, Mr. Longbottom, and Mr. Child, I've discovered that